Yeah, this is recorded literally right after my other video, and I just swapped my hat backwards to make it look like I shot this in a few days other than that. So there's some good old-fashioned movie magic for you. Hey everyone, welcome back to Why Aren't You, where we don't just beat the games, we complete them. Actually, that doesn't feel right. Anyways, welcome back. In my months of waiting for new games and new shows to come out that I've been excited for, I've been rewatching all sorts of old movies and TV shows that I loved back in my youth. One of the classics that still holds up a little well today is an independent hit called Video Game High School. This show follows a high school that replaces basketball and football teams with Call of Duty teams and professional Mortal Kombat gamers. That's the basic idea of the show, but let's get into a little more detail about the history and legacy of VGHS. VGHS started as an idea between filmmakers and registered YouTube badasses Freddie Wong, Matt Arnold, Brian Ferenzi, and Will Campos. Freddie, Matt, and Will are most well known as the geniuses behind YouTube's Rocket Jump Studios, who you may remember from some of the classic VFX viral videos from early YouTube, like First Person Mario, The Floor is Lava, Light Warfare, and many more. Whereas Brian is more recognizable from the 5 Second Films YouTube channel.
Ew, Brian!
Don't move, Kelsey.
In 2011, the team decided to make the show a web series format to post on YouTube, giving them full creative control. Unfortunately, because they chose YouTube, they also didn't have any backing of funding, so they decided to fund the project through Kickstarter, a crowdfunding site that had just started to become popular. They originally set the goal of $75,000 in a 30-day period. The goal was destroyed by fans in 24 hours, and the show eventually made almost $275,000 in their span on Kickstarter. The first season of the show became such a cult hit that they decided that they were going to make a second season, and eventually a third that were both crowdfunded. All episodes were released on YouTube, with Kickstarter backers receiving digital downloads and DVD copies of the series. The story of VGHS follows teenager Brian, known by his gamertag Brian D, as he navigates his way through the most prestigious video game high school in the country. The show starts with Brian as a regular student, then eventually accidentally beating one of the highest ranked first-person shooter players in the world on live television. Because of this, Brian gets a free scholarship to attend VGHS, where he meets his new friends Key Swan, a game developer, and Ted Wong, a drift racing gamer. Brian also has to deal with his feelings for the new FPS team captain, Jenny Matrix, and her boyfriend, The Law. The Law also happens to be the player Brian beat to get his free ride into the school, so that rivalry kind of plays throughout most of the show. Because the show is YouTube-based, there are a lot of cameos by YouTubers that were huge at the time, like Harley Morenstein of Epic Mealtime, Clinton Jones of Corridor Digital, Benji Dolly and Brian Ferenzi of 5 Second Films, iJustine, Bernie Burns, and so much more. The show also had enough popularity that more mainstream celebrities showed up, like Conan O'Brien, Tony Hawk, Nathan Kress, and even Joel McHale as the President of the United States, the role he was born to play. Of course, since there is VGHS and a slew of competitive gaming teams, there are other high schools with other competitive teams, and that's what's super interesting about the show, is how well thought out the rest of the background is. What probably started as a joke, a dream scenario for losers like me who spent all of high school playing video games, this show put us in the driver's seat. The most popular kid in high school wasn't the quarterback or the starting forward of the basketball team. It was the sniper of the FPS team, or the self-proclaimed drift king of the racing team. I also like the idea that everyone in the show went by their gamer tags. Brian D and Ted Wong and Key Swan aren't the most original gamer tags. But then there are characters like Games Dean, who bases his entire persona off of James Dean in Rebel Without a Cause, or Alliterator, who only speaks in alliteration.
Memorize a million moves by Monday morning, Miss Matrix, that's marble madness.
You're cut from the team, Alliterator. Anyone else?
Well, it was fun while it lasted. Goodbye, everybody.
Then there are just cool ones like Jumping Jacks, or Rapunzel, or Jackrabbit. The writers even used this to hide the real names of characters for twists in future episodes, so that makes it even more fun. The legacy left behind by VGHS and the Rocket Jump crew can't be denied. First off, I feel like VGHS was one of the first really big Kickstarter-funded projects. If it's not the first ever, it's probably one of the first in the film and TV category. Even 10 years ago, the entertainment industry used to hold the idea that you have to go to a major studio to make everything high quality and get funded. But I think this was one of the first opportunities for independent artists, especially on YouTube, that crowdfunding via Kickstarter was a viable option to get their ideas out there. As for where the crew is now, Freddie, Matt, and Will have a few podcasts through the Maximum Fun podcast network that have been helping keep their dreams of creating art for money alive. The first podcast that ended a little earlier last year was called Story Break, where the trio came up with an idea for a movie and then had 1 hour to come up with the specifics, like the plot and the characters and things like that. Some of these ideas they ended up making full scripts out of, like Heaven Heist and the Jar Jar Binks solo movie. The other one that they have is Dungeons and Daddies, a podcast I haven't listened to yet, but it seems to be popular. It stars the cast as a gang of regular fathers in a Dungeons and Dragons setting, which on paper already sounds like a real fun idea, but even though they have other things that aren't really what I'm interested, I'll always support the Rocket Jump crew creations because of the legacy that they started with Video Game High School. Now for the real stuff, where I go over some possible questions or concerns you may have about the property at hand, and then try to find ways to convince you to consume this delicious media right in your eye holes. What is wrong with me? That was kind of disgusting. I don't even know where that came from. Where can I watch the whole series? Currently, the series is all available in full on YouTube. I think all around it's like 5 hours total or something. I'll even link it down in the description to make it easy for you. Since this is based on internet culture, are any of the jokes outdated? I'd say some of the jokes do fall flat without the prior knowledge of some internet culture, but nothing that's mind-blowing. It's also not like they're offensive things like dick figures, which I reviewed in my Mondo Media retrospective about a year and a half ago. If you want to watch that, I'll link it up in the iCard in one of these corners. But the point is that anything that is made for YouTube or a digital platform like this is going to have a much shorter shelf life than the movie. Will I understand the show if I don't play FPS games? There may be some nuances to the kinds of games that might go over your head if you never played a Call of Duty style game. However, a lot of the big plot points are described by other characters. Also, the show doesn't only follow the FPS games, though that is a big component of the show. The main focus is actually the relationship between the characters and their relation to being on a team. You don't have to be a football genius to watch Friday Night Lights, right? Right? I have no idea. I've never seen Friday Night Lights, but I probably should. I hear good things about it. VGHS is available for free on YouTube. Video Game High School is one of my favorite independent web series because of the rags to riches story that it has. The show started as just an idea between friends and eventually, thanks to fan input, got made and expanded with way more funding. It really makes the filmmaker's dream feel more possible, and I appreciate that. Thank you guys for watching this one. I'm really trying to bang out more videos and dreaming about being consistent, but I have no idea if that's actually going to happen or not. Please be sure to like and comment the video and subscribe to stay up to date on when I post the next one. Also, thanks on the love for the Jeb vlog from October. I had a lot of fun working on it, and I wish I could work on more stuff like that in the future. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on the next one.